Yeah, when I spoke in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Key Largo and some Tony private schools. But coming back to the New York City Board of Ed was, okay, this is great. I mean, I was a special ed teacher on Staten Island. I taught, I don't know, how many people are special ed personnel here? Wow, look at you all. Wow. And how many people are parents of special needs kids? Wow, look at you. What a great group. Well, I was a special ed teacher on Staten Island. I taught in a do they still have, I'm dating myself, I realized, by saying what I spoke in, what I taught in, but it was HC30. Do they still have anything like that? They used to call this health conservation, you're laughing, it dates yourself. I don't know what this was. Health Conservation 30. This was the label for this, I think it was like, they were trying to move away from things like, dare I say it, minimal brain dysfunction, something like that. With the MBD class, now I'm really dating myself. I'm not, so Health Conservation 30 was a special ed class, and I'm not exaggerating. I was in the boiler room. I'm not exaggerating. They had me in a class in like a boiler room, and we had a great group of kids, and I remember these kids to this day. There was a child with, I hope you know, with Tourette syndrome in the class, and I was a young teacher, 23 years old, and I still remember taking walks with the kids, a boy named Alex, a boy named Ron. These kids come back to me like it was yesterday, and they were the inspiration, believe it or not, the stories that are in this book. This is a book of stories. And the people that are in the Shutdown Learner, many of them I still know. I got emails from them yesterday. They've contacted me over, I keep in touch with many of them. And some of them date back to my time in New York City Board of Ed. And there was a boy named Frankie who was really the start of all this for me. I was a resource teacher. Again, I'm dating myself because schools didn't even know what a resource room was. And this was the start of the special ed. I was at NYU in my master's in special ed and all stuff. And there was the resource room on Staten Island. And I had my first student, and a boy named Frankie. And he was in a regular third grade class, maybe fourth grade class. And I brought him down the hall. They said, you got to work with this kid. I said, okay. And I brought him down the hall, and here he was sitting in a regular third grade class, and I brought out at the time, probably the last time I used this test, the Slauson reading test. And I gave him, the pre-primer list of words, and he looked at me like this. Words like the and cat and he looked at me like, and I really thought he was, pulling my chains, and that he really could read them, and he just was being oppositional. Turned out that Frankie had severe dyslexia, and I mean severe. And he was the start of this, in many ways, the start of this kind of book for me, and I always remember that. And I remember going to a workshop like this, sponsored by the New York City Board of Ed, where I listened to, I hope somebody like me, who inspired me a little bit, and there were some methods that I used, and Frankie started to make progress. So there's hope. There is hope. So here I am, the wayward son, returning to Brooklyn, so thank you for having me. I really welcome interaction as we go. The only thing I ask, you could raise your hand and comment, sometimes people get a little bit personal, like, my child, this is going to fall all over the place. I can't turn this into group therapy, gang, you know what I mean? I can't, and no school bashing. Some people get very angry in these presentations. Well, my school doesn't do this and it does. Let's, this is a Friday. We're getting to the weekend. Calm down, everybody. I know the problems are, are going to be, they're going to be there come Monday. And, those are the only rules. I'm moving this along here. Shutdown learner. When you think about the this is a quote from my department chairman, who reminds us. I work in a teaching hospital. That these problems are not just school issues. These are health problems that we have. I deal with a fair number of families that I think have decent resources. Not all. I mean, many families that come to see me don't have the resources, and we try to find them scholarship money, and we try to help them any way we can. But for those who can't read the PowerPoint, I will read it to you. When children struggle in school, this is from Dr. Sharrar, a very, very experienced pediatrician, my former department chair. When children struggle in school, their whole family system is affected. From my perspective as a pediatrician, the child's health is affected by his or her negative school experiences. Increased incidence of depression, anxiety, and family turmoil are the common side effects of school struggling. How many people would agree with that message? Yeah, I think we got a lot of votes here, Senator Golden, on that one. That's why you're here today. And I deal with this. I'm on the front lines, gang. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a lofty professor. I'm evaluating children myself, one family at a time. I hear the parental anguish. Small problems like homework. Yeah, I see the head nod. Moms just went like this. Yep. Homework problems can be enormously debilitating to a family. I've had families come close to breaking up over homework problems. So you can imagine how challenging this is. And I'm not here to depress you on a Friday. I will hopefully give you some upbeat information at some point. And I will show you a program that, Senator, does not cost money. That is a program that is not stretching the school district's budget. Just give you a taste of it at some point. But I think one of the takeaway points here is Dr. Sharrar's message, that this is a family health system problem. I just want to really emphasize that. Okay? This is like a three-ring circus here. I have to juggle my remote and to make sure the papers don't fall off. Thankfully, I don't have the coffee on the air. I'd spill it all over myself. And my wife is here to say, yes, he will. So, that's going to be like, not good. And I really like to, because I'm not, hopefully you have a feel for my first couple. There we go. See, I told you. That's all right. I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm all right. That's all right. I'm fine.
I got it.
There's no, at the end of this podium, there's no lid, there's no thing that holds the paper up. So it's going to slide right off. So I'm trying to keep it some sliding. Anyway, hopefully you get a feel from me that I'm not a lofty, I don't use a lot of jargon. I don't like to talk about visual motor, yakety blob, or sensory integration, and whatever. I just kind of like to talk about kids, And what I like to do is to tell parents imagery that works for them. I like to use imagery. And if you're a teacher, I encourage you, special ed people, to use metaphors with your parents, or the ones that are coming in. Use imagery. I use a lot of swimming pool imagery. The kids in the 3-foot water when the school has them in the 6-foot water. It's that kind of thing, you see? Parents want a lot of labels. I really avoid labels. I try to stay away from them. I'm not comfortable with it. It's just one of my things. I know I have to do it once in a while, but I'm not that comfortable with it. But here's my current imagery. When parents want to know why and wherefore, and thank you. So I tell parents all the time, I say something like this, and to the parents out there, they want to know why. Why? I say, well, look, there are essentially 50% of the population has what I think a relatively smooth ride. 50% of the population has a relatively smooth ride. They get out of the gate early in preschool. They don't have behavior problems. Little ones. They learn their letters, their alphabet, phonemic awareness kicks in, their reading skills, and they move forward. I'm not saying they don't have little rocks and pebbles in the way, but, they have a relatively smooth ride, like my PowerPoint shows. And then there are the other side of the fence. And these are the shutdown learner kids. These are the kids for whatever host of reasons. And I know whether it's ADHD or sensory, whatever these are kids that from a young age don't have a smooth ride. And for them, I tend to explain to parents, look, it's a dirt road with a lot of potholes. And if you take away one message from today's talk, because I think this is something that doesn't cost money necessarily, it's an attitudinal change. If you take away one message from me today, our job as teachers, I'm inspiring you guys, hopefully, and parents, is to make the road a little smoother. If we could fill in one or two of the potholes here, if we can kind of make it a little bit smoother, then their lives are better. And there are some very small things you can do. In fact, I posted it on a blog that comes out on my website just today about the road. And I said, playing a game of Uno with a child. My message of the shutdown learner is relational. These are discouraged children. These are kids who are upset with themselves and with, how they're unfolding. So playing a game of Uno for 15 minutes gives an amazing battery charge. I'm not here as an Uno salesman, trust me. I get no kickback on Uno. It's just an easy game to play. It's good for all ages. Most people like it. I'm just using that as an example. Encouraging taking a walk with kids, that kind of thing. There's a lot, and I'm going to go through a quick list in a little bit, that teachers and parents can do in the schools that don't cost a lot of money. But I really think that these kinds of things help smooth the road. There is not going to be an absolutely smooth road for our population of kids. There just isn't. I tell parents as well, they're not car engines. You can't bring them to the shutdown learner Jiffy Lube or something, and there's not going to be the fix. But we can smooth the road. Would anyone like to comment? I welcome a comment on that. And also, listen, if you disagree, sometimes every once in a while, a parent or a teacher gets, I don't agree with you. It's okay. Remember, Friday, nice out, I'm really willing to take a disagreement along the way if you feel there's something that may be. But anyone like to comment on that? Okay. So those are two roads.